So you've got your big show coming up. How do you market it? How do you get people into the show, into the door? You got to know what to do. And I'm excited to have on today a guest is an expert in event marketing and is also in event ticket sales. And S is Ashley Stanford. Ashley has over 20 years of experience focused on a lot of different industries, but really her main priority is events and entertainment. And I'm really excited to have her on. Ashley, welcome to Trade Show University.
Thank you, Jim. Very excited to be here. I think there's not enough podcasts that focus on events. So you are one of the few and very excited.
Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, it's been a labor of love, especially going through the pandemic when all
Oh,
the
yeah.
events kind of went away. But
Yeah.
it's been great, and I've seen some other new ones pop up here and there, and that they're all just fantastic. But yes, we need more learning. How do we raise the bar for everybody? And that's why I'm glad you're here today, because I think you're really going to be able to shed some great insights on what event planners especially can do to get more people in the door. But give people a little bit of understanding of who you are.
Sure. You summed it up pretty well. I've been doing digital marketing for 20 years now. Believe it or not, digital marketing has been around that long. I've worked in many different industries, medical device, fintech, but for the past, I'd say 7 or 8 years, my primary focus has been on events. And so I work a lot with clients on what are their event strategies for selling tickets and getting as many people in the door as possible without necessarily just always the answer being spending more money on Facebook ads. So love strategizing with people on all the different tactics and channels and strategies that you can do to get as many people to your event as possible.
Okay, well, let's start diving into some of that. And as you mentioned, the ticket sales. I mean, that's really what's key. Unless someone's running an event that's free to the open to the public and free, they're not really selling any tickets. But that's a small percentage. Most people are and businesses are trying to make that part of their revenue stream. So it's more than just having tickets available for sale. You've got to have the right ticket platform. So as an event marketer, how do you guide clients through the process of selecting the right platform?
Sure. So I'm always a big fan of a white labeled platform. And what that means essentially is when a customer comes to your website to buy a ticket, it looks like and feels like they are on your website. It's your branding. The ticket purchase experience is very seamless. So there's a lot of big name ticketing companies out there. I won't mention them, but when you go to buy a ticket for some events, you're actually taken off of your website, taken to a new website, and the problem with that is then now you're sharing all of your customer data with another company who is one able to remarket to your customers however they want, which you know can be problematic in future years because you're always competing for people's time and other events. And then just the aspect of events getting paid out when you're working with a third party ticketing company that is not white labeled, they're processing the funds on your behalf and then paying you out later. And we actually saw, because of the pandemic, like you mentioned, what a problem that was because a lot of events were working with these companies. And then when COVID hit and they weren't quite sure yet what was going to happen, those event ticketing companies held all of the events funds. And so that left little room for most event companies to pivot because they've lost all their cash flow when they were expecting funds, every week. And so having control over your brand is important, but also having control over your money and data is very important.
Wow, you bring up such a great point, especially about the data, because
Yeah.
everyone knows that, I mean, there's so many great data analytics companies in the event space because there's more and more and more data we can drill deeper and deeper in. But it starts there at the initial sale, and you make that great point of you don't want to give up all that data to a third party. And also, you can ensure your customers that, hey, you're coming to my event, your event and your data stays with us. We're not giving this to a third party. You're reassuring them at a whole different level than they probably are used to. So that's just a fantastic tip right there to be able to do that white label. And that's something I was not exactly sure how that works. So that's fantastic in helping companies guide along. So once they've got that platform, now it's time to market, right? It's time to do that. Where in your experience, what are some really effective ways? What are a couple tips and tricks to boost those ticket sales and ensure that the right people get in the door?
Sure. So, without going into too much tactical detail, because we don't have enough time for that, high level, what I would say is one of the best things that you can do when marketing your event is generate leads. And what I mean by that is, let's say before you ever go on sale, you're running ads driving people to a landing page of sorts that says, hey, we're coming to town, or, this event's coming up again. Join our VIP list to get first access and all these other bonuses. You want to make it sound, exciting, a good reason for them to actually sign up and be on this VIP list. And what you're going to collect is at the bare minimum, their first name, email, phone number. And then the reason you want to do that is when you do go on sale, or even if you can still do lead gen if you are on sale, you just got to get a little more clever as to why they'd want to opt in. But the reason you want to do that is because, one, when you do go on sale, and you have all these leads built up, you can have a really great kind of like on sale day where you get a lot of sales, a big spike in your kind of sales funnel, which is really helpful for cash flow, especially
Mm,
when you're putting on an event. There's a
yeah.
lot of expenses that come up. And so, one, cash flow is important. And it can just help ease a little stress on the sales cycle in general if you have one really great opening day. Of course, you want to kind of keep that going, and you'll always sell more tickets as it gets closer to the event as well. But that's one thing that's really helpful. The second reason you want to do this is when you are selling tickets, registration to your event, and let's say you're running an ad on Facebook, Instagram, which almost no matter what industry, that's still always a great place to advertise because the targeting is so honed in and you can reach the right people. But when you're running an ad to sell a ticket or registration, the cost to acquire that customer is going to be pretty high. So your profit margin is much lower. But when you're running ads to generate a lead, the cost for that lead is so much more inexpensive. Depending on the event and the niche, you could pay 50 cents for a lead, you could pay $10 for a lead. It's still a lot more inexpensive than the cost to acquire an actual purchase. And so once you actually have them in your database, then in addition to showing them ads, you can also be emailing them consistently and sending them text messages, and those often convert a lot better, and it'll just be more cost effective for you. And then just that aspect, lastly, of somebody seeing an email in their inbox, getting a text on their phone, and seeing retargeting ads all over Facebook, Instagram, all of those really work together to help convert a customer. So it's not just one thing that's always going to get them, it's just being in their face, honestly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. First thing you said, cash flow is king. Cash flow just rules the day, and that's what we want. We want that, especially out in front of the event, because especially if you're doing a physical event, an in-person event, there's huge costs that are coming. And so to have that infusion of cash up front, if you do this right and you do a lot of that pre-show marketing to
Yeah.
get those ticket sales going, and then having those multiple ways of connecting with the customer. and getting them via email, via text, and then using the remarketing. Great way to hone into their brain about this. And like you said, you're just getting a lead, and getting someone to buy might be way more difficult right out of the gate. And if they don't buy, then you never have their data. So
Right.
great point there. Great point there. I love all that. Great
Yeah.
stuff. So, in your experience, are you seeing anything out there, anything that's trending especially in trade shows regarding ticketing, event marketing, things like that, that our planners need to know?
Sure. So what I'm seeing trending, I'll give you a marketing item and then I'll
Okay.
give you actual event experience. Because I do think selling the event experience is part of the marketing, and it's very competitive these days with events. I'm seeing a lot of events that I was working with, even just shortly after the pandemic or right before the pandemic, that were always selling like hotcakes. So easy, great events that people love to go to year after year, really starting to struggle. And it's really what I believe to be just fatigue of the same type of event. The world is so different now in terms of just kind of getting that dopamine hit every day with people, just technology. And so the events that I'm seeing that are selling very well, and this can be, I don't care what kind of event you're putting on, whether it is a trade show or a fun run or anything else, the trend that I'm seeing that will help you is to really think through the event experience in terms of immersion. And so immersion is kind of the trending word here. You know, if someone's coming into a trade show, this is great for even exhibitors to think about. It's hard to just have a booth that people can see on a screen what your product does and collect your business card. Like they want that immersive experience. That's going to help them remember you, to want to even come to your booth to talk to you, to learn more. And you want to think through all the different senses. What are they seeing? What are they feeling? What are they hearing? What are they tasting? Like anything you can do to pull in all those aspects and make an experience that is very immersive, is helpful, for sure. And not in the beginning of just selling tickets, but also just putting on a successful event that people want to come to again and again.
I love that. I love that. And that is truly something that's also trending. I've connected with a lot of different people in the events industry who are really doing everything they can to create brand new experiences, things that we've never seen before. It is one thing to wow our attendees that on things they weren't expecting when they get there, but it's another thing to kind of tee them up as to, hey, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this event. You're going to be experiencing this. We're having this musical artist or having a magician. We're having whatever go through. You're going to be experiencing so many new things. Uh, something that just popped into my mind, instead of having a barista at your booth, that you could have someone doing custom pancakes with people's pictures on them. So
Uh, yeah. I
so
mean,
things like that are just completely out of unexpected, out of left field, but
right.
creating those wow moments.
Yeah, that's something someone's going to want to take a picture of and document. And I live very close to Disneyland. And so obviously we can't compare any event anyone else putting on to Disneyland. But if you think about it, people love Disneyland because it is so immersive. I mean, they're pumping smells out of the event or out of their vents that make you want to buy certain snacks. And the snacks are all themed around the different, rides and characters and everything. And so things like that, like not forgetting things like scents and snacks and taste and all of that, can really, little things that can elevate the experience for sure.
Absolutely. Engage all the senses,
Yeah.
everything that you can do. And I love the idea of having an entire event around a main theme. And that gives
That's
that gives you great creative license to do so many new things, have micro events within the event or just outside the
right.
event that are around that theme. And I challenge any exhibitors who are listening to this, any businesses that exhibit, to do that to your booth as well. Think
Mhm.
about the senses. What can you do to create those smells, those sounds, those sights, to make that immersive experience right there at your booth that will complement the show? And show planners challenge these booths, challenge these exhibitors to do that and play into the whole theme. And it's just going to make everyone better and make that whole experience have those attendees going back with a bunch of wow moments is going to be what's going
Sure.
to happen.
Agreed. Yeah.
I love the Disney correlation because there's no place like it on Earth, and there's so many magical wow moments that happen that you just don't expect, and that's what people remember. They remember how you made them feel. They remember those experiences. Great stuff. Great stuff. Uh, and one thing that I know that's really important to me, I just did an episode about this, is networking. There's so many people that come to these events and then they hit the bar or the restaurant or the city after the event instead of going to the networking events or really take advantage of being there and doing more business. Do you have any strategies that you help your clients go through on networking?
Sure. So this is my secret networking tip that I
Yep.
learned 20 years ago. Because when I first started out in business, I used trade shows to grow, attending as many as I could, attending all of the local chamber networking events, all of that. So when I'm at trade shows in particular, there's always, as you mentioned, instead of just leaving, there's always something like a networking happy hour or some sort of post event, the luncheons, the breakfast. So here's my trick that I do is wherever the event is taking place, what I do is I get there early first, be like the first person there, and then I stand right at the entrance. And then as everybody's walking in, they think I work for the event. So everyone's introducing themselves to me. I'm the first person they see, and everyone's always a little uncomfortable in those like networking situations, like, who do I talk to? There's a group over here, but they're all talking. Do I interrupt them? So at the beginning of the event, I spend time just standing at the door. That way, every single person that walks in introduces themselves to me, and then I have a chance to introduce myself and clear up that, oh, I don't work for the event. They're like you. And then once the event kicks off and gets going, once you're inside, people flock to you because they don't know who else to talk to. They don't remember anyone, but they remember you from when they first walked in. And that's a great way to just, if you're uncomfortable in those situations, that really helps. I don't know, like break the ice. People, I've just found that people feel more comfortable talking to you because you were like the first person they met when they got there.
I love that. Boom. You just if you get nothing else from today and you know you got a lot of great value already, because she has just delivered so many great tips here. But remember that one. That is a fantastic networking event or a networking tip. As we wrap up here, Ashley, what would be one or two key takeaways you want people to take from our discussion?
I would say one of the most important things, again, if marketing related, because that's my favorite thing to talk about, is remember that lead gen. Remember really cultivating that email and SMS list. And that is along the lines again of owning your own data, because then you're no longer, your hands aren't tied necessarily to how your Facebook or Instagram ads are converting. You have your owned audience, and that is going to convert at a much lower cost for you than any other marketing channel. And then, yes, just really think through, do you own your customer data? Do you own your brand experience? And do you own essentially the rights to your money? Who's holding on to your money? Think about those things when you choose, which ticketing platform that you're going to use.
Wow, that is so powerful. And yes, take away that networking tip, but remember what you just said about the data, owning the data, keeping all the money. Just so great. So Ashley, thank you so much for coming on, for sharing all this. If people wanted to reach out to you and get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure, you can find me at ashleynstanford.com or find me on LinkedIn or ticketsocket.com.
All right, now we'll drop links to all that into the description. So please connect with her. She has a great wealth of information, as you already know, especially if you're looking for those marketing strategies for events. Ashley, thank you so much for joining me today. Really, really appreciate
Thank
you
you,
being there.
Bob. Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
All right, everyone, continue to binge, continue to get more great information here at Trade Show University, and we will see you next time.